nations looking to keep their dreams alive go head-to-head. It is Grenada and the Bahamas from the Kirani James National Stadium in St. George's, and it is live. I'm Donnie Barnes. We see the weather conditions in Grenada tonight. It's been very hot and humid throughout the day. The temperature cooling slightly this evening, but it will still be a bit of a battle of endurance tonight. We'll look at the current standings in Group B of this second round of Concacaf qualifying, as these two sides in need of a victory tonight. Remember that only the top two from each group move on to the final round, and with Costa Rica, Trinidad, and St. Kitts and Nevis all above these two teams, it'll be a significant uphill climb. So to have any chance at that miracle, 3 points desperately needed tonight for both these teams, and so they will each have to go for the win. Remember that the first two matches of this second qualifying round took place last June. On June 5th of 2024, Grenada jumped out to a 2-0 lead at Trinidad in Port of Spain, but a comeback from the Soco Warriors saw them share the points in a 2-2 draw. That was a real missed opportunity for Grenada after a great first half, and they lost 3-0 then here at home to Costa Rica a few days later on June 9th of last year. Bahamas, meanwhile, suffered a 7-1 defeat to Trinidad in their first match of this second round of qualifiers, and then they lost a narrow 1-0 game against St. Kitts and Nevis a few days later. So Grenada have already played the top two favorites in this group. So if they could win here tonight, they would then have hope for a draw between Trinidad and St. Kitts when those two play on Friday. If that were to happen, that would leave Grenada with a real chance of claiming that second ticket to the final qualifying round if they could then beat St. Kitts and Nevis next Tuesday. Because while in that scenario they would still go into the final game of this round outside of that top two, Trinidad have to play at Costa Rica in their final match. So there is every chance that Grenada would have real hope going into that final game if that scenario were to play out. Now, a Trinidad win over St. Kitts and Nevis on Friday, that would almost certainly close the door on Grenada, since Trinidad's goal differential is already 9 goals better at the moment. But the Spice Boys know that for any of those scenarios to have meaning next Tuesday, they have to win tonight. For Bahamas, who went into these qualifiers as one of the lower-ranked sides in CONCACAF, they'll be hoping to spoil those ambitions and keep their own very slender hopes of advancement alive with an upset win on the road. The Bahamas, a member of CONCACAF since 1967. They've never qualified for a World Cup, neither has Grenada. Grenada have taken part in 3 Gold Cups. But the Bahamas focused recently on developing their national teams at various age levels. They've seen an increase in players receiving scholarships to the U.S. and Canadian colleges and universities. A big night for both these sides tonight. We'll hear the anthems of these two nations and then see the starting 11s and kickoff. It is Grenada, and the Bahamas on the road to the FIFA World Cup 2026. And it is next.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the national anthem of the Bahamas. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the national anthem of the state of Grenada.
The opportunity to represent your nation in a World Cup qualifier, a rare and precious one, as Grenada and the Bahamas get set for this qualifier here tonight. The third of 4 in this second qualifying round. The first qualifiers in a year since the first half of this qualifying round was played last June. Again, these two sides needing to take all 3 points to keep their hopes of qualification alive here this evening. Kirani James National Stadium, the backdrop for this one, named after the first ever Olympic medalist to come from Grenada, claimed a gold medal in 400 meters. The 2012 London Olympics, subsequently won silver and bronze at the next 2 Olympic Games as well. Here is the starting 11 for his home nation, Grenada, with the goalkeeper Chad Phillip earning just his 5th cap tonight, 24 years old. The back 4 of Herrick, Charles Cook, Muirhead, and Vincent Young. Johnson and Francois up front, as the captaincy taken by Aaron Pierre here tonight. And Grenada 1 point from their first 2 matches in this qualifying round. Match officials tonight, they're led by Shaven Green, our center referee, Cleon Lindy, Brandon Cyrus, his assistants, Shaquille Jokil is the 4th official tonight. Now the starting 11 for the Bahamas. They have a very young goalkeeper between the sticks today, Vance Wheaton, just 20 years old, with Carroll, Thomas, Miller, and Kelly across the back 4. Gardner, Bales, and Milfris in the midfield. Cross, Cheatham, and Lopez are the front 3. Head coach is Kevin Davies, who played for the national side and now takes charge for his 2nd spell at the head of this team. Again, there is still a realistic path for Grenada to get through this qualifying round and be one of those 12 nations out of Concacaf who qualify for the final round of qualification this fall. They'll have to win this game, they'll have to win their last game next week, and they'll need some help elsewhere as well. But 3 points today, and suddenly things would look a lot more realistic for them. For the Bahamas, the chances are remote, but a surprise win today, and who knows, it would leave the door open at least going into that final qualifying match next week. And it will be the Bahamas to get us underway tonight. They are in the gold with the blue sash. Grenada wearing their green kits this evening. You see the Bahamas to attack from right to left in this opening half. Not quite ready for kickoff just yet, as Shaven Green consulting with the official on the near touchline. Haven't quite reached the top of the hour, so the players ready for action just a bit early tonight. We'll be underway in just a few seconds. Part of a full slate of qualifying action across CONCACAF tonight. St. Vincent and the Grenadines just getting underway against Anguilla as we speak. Bermuda and the Cayman Islands about to do the same. Earlier today, a win for Dominica over the British Virgin Islands. A draw between Barbados and Aruba. Montserrat defeating Belize. And now the opening whistle, and we are rolling in St. George's in the CONCACAF FIFA World Cup 2026 qualifiers. Who will keep their World Cup dreams alive for next week's finale in this second round? Only chance for Grenada to come forward after they win the ball in the midfield. That's the first attack for Keyshawn Francois, carrying to the end line, looking for the cutback. It's deflected. Captain play acrobatically, and the Bahamas able to clear for now. Early attacking intent from the home side, and they come right back down the right with Jermaine Francis. He's sent tumbling. It'll be a free kick, essentially a short corner, 30 seconds in. Good start to this game for Grenada. That's exactly what they'll want, knowing that the onus is on them to take the game to the Bahamas tonight. There's head coach Anthony Modeste, who played for the national side. Represented them at a Gold Cup, in fact. Early chance for them to swing in something dangerous from this set piece. Two over the ball for them. It is whipped in with the left foot above the 6-yard box. Volleyed toward goal. Wouldn't quite sit down for Jermaine Francis. Bahamas able to scramble it away for now. It is a throw for Grenada. And the Bahamas, a heavy 7-1 defeat against Trinidad in their first qualifying game. There's Kevin Davies back in charge of this national side. He wasn't in charge last June, but renamed head coach for this round of games. He was a striker for the Bahamas in his playing days. Clipped ball over the top, and the flag has gone up. Offside given against Reagan Charles Cook. Many of these Grenada players play in England for lower league sides there. Grenada, one of many Concacaf nations who increasingly are having success recruiting dual nationals who are eligible to play for them, have ancestry and heritage on the island. So they have mined those lower divisions in English football and found a number of talents to join their national setup in recent years. One of many federations across the region improving rapidly, building out their infrastructure, getting better and better. The Bahamas have a number of players who play collegiately in the United States. They have a few members of the University of Tampa Spartans collegiate squad who play at the Division II level in the U.S. Division II in the college ranks, that is. This will be a throw for Grenada deep in their own territory. Trying to take advantage of the speed they have up front. This will be a throw in the attacking half for them. They really gave Trinidad and Tobago a scare in their first game of this qualifying round last June. Played a great first half. Scored 2 goals in a 4-minute span midway through the opening half. First from a penalty, the second from a terrific volley. Keep this alive down by the corner flag, and they do, but stabbed back out by the Bahamas. Grenada figured to be on the attack most of the night. It'll be a matter of whether the Bahamas can withstand that and find some counter-attacking opportunities of their own. Now space on the right for Francis, able to chop it inside past one defender, and shoulder to shoulder with Jonathan Miller, who was able to win it back, and it squirts through to Vance Wheaton, their 20-year-old goalkeeper. Vance Wheaton, one of those players for the Bahamas who plays in the United States for the University of Tampa. Wheaton's father actually played professional hockey in the United States. Vance Wheaton actually finished 4th in a national spelling bee in the Bahamas. Might face some action in a moment as Grenada look to feather something into the area. Just past 5 minutes gone. Grenada seeing almost all of the ball so far. Took that 2-0 lead against Trinidad and Tobago. So Trinidad come back with 2 and had to settle for a 2-2 draw. It was still a fine performance, a good result, but a sense of a missed opportunity. It could have been much more. That comeback from Trinidad is why they still have the inside track at the start of this round of qualifying to reach the next round. A win from Grenada here today would definitely put pressure on Trinidad and on St. Kitts and Nevis, who Grenada will play in their final qualifying match of this round in a few days. By the end line, looking to whip something in again. Still keeping possession and laying it off to the edge of the 18. Darius Johnson, who plays for Phoenix Rising FC in the United States for the USL side. Roman Charles Cook. Charles Cook using his strength by that end line. Shots for a foul as he thought he was being held. Referee seeing nothing wrong with that. On we go with a throw for the Bahamas. Jordan Cheatham out of the back for the visitors. It's good strength from William Bales to hold off his man. Playing out from the back here, the Bahamas, bravely, then dispossessed. They have to go back to the defense again as Grenada continue to probe the edge of that 18-yard area. And a free kick for the Bahamas as Jordan Cheatham was fouled. And a couple other games getting underway at the same time as this one as we look at the foul again. Cheatham impacted from behind by Keyshawn Francois, who scored a goal against Anguilla in his debut for them a few days ago. That was a friendly leading up to this game. 2-0 victory for Grenada. It's a promising start to life in the green and red for Francois. He came up through the Vancouver Whitecaps Academy. He's not with them anymore, but actually trained with the Whitecaps first team for a bit. Major League Soccer, of course, so it's a very strong pedigree. Another one of those dual nationals. He was born in Canada, Grenadan heritage, and convinced to join the national setup. Good switch out to the far side. Irish Moorhead. Siobhan John Brown. Roman Charles Cook. Now the touch from Reagan Charles Cook, and he spreads it in front, and the goalkeeper absorbs a foul. May have been stepped on, and play is stopped as Vance Wheaton taking a stray stud. Clever touch around the outside from Reagan Charles Cook. It's also in progress at the moment, Bermuda and the Cayman Islands, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Earlier today, Dominica with their first win of this qualifying round, a 3-0 victory over the British Virgin Islands. British Virgin Islands, of course, won that two-legged play-in over a year ago in the preliminary round of Concacaf qualifying. And the U.S. Virgin Islands now 0-3 in this round. As free kick for the Bahamas, a chance for them to advance into the attacking half, really for the first time. Foul given against Caden Herrick. Forward, but harmlessly so. First touch of the match for Chad Phillip, who mentioned as having just his 5th cap here tonight, collecting his 5th cap for his national side. 24 years old. The incumbent starting goalkeeper for quite a while for Grenada has been Jason Belfon. He's had over 50 caps for the national team. He's not named the starter tonight. He's on the bench. Perhaps a bit of a passing of the torch. Through the midfield they come. Moorhead trying to spread it out on that left side. That was intercepted. Bahamas struggling to get bodies forward in the attack. They do have a free kick, though, right on the halfway line. Bales, who plays for Bruton Parker College. Lifting it forward, calmly steered back to his keeper by Roman Charles Cook. Grenada seeking that opening goal. A lot of pressure on them in this game. Not necessarily favored to be one of the two teams to come out of this group when it started last June. Certainly not favorites to be one of those two now, but still an opportunity. All these Concacaf nations know, as this will be a free kick for the Bahamas, that this particular qualifying cycle offers probably the best chance of this generation. One of these national sides to reach a World Cup. Since there are 6 spots available within CONCACAF this time around. But here come Grenada now, and a chance perhaps, and it's touch wide, looking for a penalty. Nothing given. It will be a corner. It was Jermaine Francis breaking into the area. Decent last-ditch defending by the Bahamas. Francis making that run down the right, completely unmarked. All forced him inside just a little bit. There was a little bit of contact as well from the defender, Jordan Cheatham. Looked as though the referee was giving a corner initially. A goal kick has been indicated instead. There is no VAR for this round of qualifying, by the way, so the center referee, the assistant referees, their decisions will stand as called, no matter what. Of course, VAR would not have been invoked for a potential corner anyway, but something to keep in mind as we go through the evening. Vincent Young taking it back. 29 years old, Kane Vincent Young. He's a guy who's battled through a ton of injuries in his career. Shown a lot of resilience. Keep coming back time and time again. He's had multiple Achilles ruptures. And keeping this alive on the edge of the area. Clever ball out on the right. Reagan Charles Cook now lifts it into the box, and it's the opening goal. Grenada score! Big lift for them, big relief for them. Jermaine Francis makes it 1-0 to the boys in green. And that comes from that initial ball out to Reagan Charles Cook, and his cross into the middle was excellent. Goalkeeper Wheaton started to come out for it, realized he couldn't get there, and then was stranded. And it's a textbook header planted into the back of the net by Jermaine Francis. And Grenada with that early goal that they wanted. Arrives in the 15th minute. And that will be a big lift for them. Well, Jermaine Francis, born in London. His journey has taken him from the youth setups at Queen's Park Rangers and Reading. Actually played for Chelsea's U19 representative college team at one point. Demanding English non-league pyramid. Made his debut with the Grenada national side in September of 2023. Scored his first goal for them last November. Has a big goal for them tonight in World Cup qualifying. They have a corner here as well.
Bahamas nil.
So Grenada would love to run away with this early. Of course, goal differential is the primary tiebreaker. Corner delivery not the best. Grenada, of course, objective one is just to win tonight and take all 3 points. That's the minimum to keep their qualification hopes alive. But as a secondary goal, they'd love to win by as crooked a scoreline as they possibly could. Their goal differential at the start of the night was -3, so currently then -2. More on that in a moment. This is clever play down the left as it's Stabbed out again for another Grenada corner. Wonderful play from Darius Johnson on that left wing side. He has been a menace. Both the wingers have been very good early on. Johnson on the left, Reagan Charles Cook on the right, who of course picked up the assist on that opening goal a couple minutes ago. And Shavon John Brown over to take this corner. Lifted in, it's a good delivery, headed down and claimed by the goalkeeper, Vance Wheaton. Not a lot on the header. And get it down into the ground, which is the right idea, but Vance Wheaton able to take that one. It's going back to goal differential. Grenada now at -2. St. Kitts and Nevis, who had 3 points, will have 3 points at the end of the night because they don't play until Friday, but St. Kitts and Nevis coming in third place in the group with those 3 points from their first 2 matches. They're at -3. Trinidad and Tobago a big advantage at +6 in second place, also on 4 points to Grenada's 1. So all Grenada can do is win tonight, win by as many goals as possible, and then see about that game on Friday between Trinidad and Tobago and St. Kitts and Nevis. They would hope primarily for a draw in that game. A St. Kitts and Nevis win would be okay for them too. A Trinidad win and the World Cup dream would be largely over for Grenada, but trying to do their part here tonight. That's all they can focus on right now. And they interchange again down this left side. Lifted into the box, took a deflection on its way, stays in play though. And now it's hammered out. It'll be a throw for the home side. So you don't know if goal differential will really come into play in this group, but you always want it to be as good as you possibly can have it, as this is. Volley just wide, hit with all kinds of venom on the full volley by Darius Johnson. Met it really well and just missed that far post. There's this ball in from Parish Moorhead, and look at how Darius Johnson meets that on the fly. Great technique. Couldn't quite angle it inside that far post. Might have ripped the side netting if it had. And free kick for the Bahamas. We've had a few of these right around the halfway line. Shavon John Brown penalized for that one. Bahamas not able to make anything with these free kicks so far. Again, for a team that's probably not going to generate too many opportunities tonight. In theory, you would want to take advantage of those chances to lift something into a dangerous spot, but instead they've given it away in the midfield. Here come Grenada now. It's Moorhead, and a good save by Wheaton. He had to scramble back on the back pedal and then stretch to his right, made a good save. And those giveaways in the middle of the park, always trouble. And trying to finish there inside the far post was Moorhead. Not sure he got everything on it, but he was trying to. We're past 20 minutes played in this first half. Grenada leading thanks to that 15th minute goal from Jermaine Francis. This will be shielded out and a goal kick. There's been a goal in Bermuda, and it belongs to the home side. Bermuda with a 1-0 lead over the Cayman Islands. That's in Group A. Cayman Islands came into that game actually tied with Cuba for second, although trailing them on goal differential in that group. Bermuda with 1 point from their first 2 games. Honduras and Cuba, the 2 favorites in that group. But it was a real opportunity, still is an opportunity for the Cayman Islands in that game if they could go to 6 points to give themselves a real chance, but they are trailing early to Bermuda. And here, 1-0 in favor of Grenada. We've had almost all the possession thus far. No goals between St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Anguilla. As I say that, as I was in the middle of saying that, St. Vincent and the Grenadines have scored. So now there is a goal. Meanwhile, Grenada searching for their seconds. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Anguilla, two sides that have both lost their opening two matches of this qualifying round. Clever step over. Here they come again. And the low cross in, scuffed. Not really clear, not really dealt with. Gonna get his way down the outside and just running out of room with Siobhan John Brown. Has switched over to this right side for now after playing on the left earlier. Goal kick for the Bahamas, but they get away with that one. Cross in caused issues. Two missed clearances from the Bahamas. Fortunate that it stayed just 1-0. Mentioned earlier tonight, Dominica defeating the British Virgin Islands. Dominica now to 3 points. Those were their first points of Group E, but they are still 3 points behind both Guatemala and Jamaica, who are yet to play their third game. So still very long odds for Dominica, but did pick up a win tonight. Group E, a really fascinating one, though. Finally poised between Guatemala, Jamaica, and the Dominican Republic. Guatemala and Jamaica 6 points each from their first two games last June. So we're over midway through the first half here in Grenada tonight at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. So far, so good for Grenada as they try to give themselves a chance going into that final qualifying match here, the second round next week. Big game coming up, though, in a few days between Guatemala and the Dominican Republic. They're in Group E. Dominican Republic making a real push this qualifying cycle. Give themselves a chance to qualify for the World Cup, but they'll have to get a big result in that game to keep those dreams alive. Guatemala really disappointed after the 2022 cycle. They've had this opportunity circled on the calendar for quite a while, so that will be quite a game. Lots of intriguing games around Concacaf qualifying over this next week. Happy to have you along for this one. I'm Donnie Barnes. Grenada leading since the 15th minute. Goal scored by Jermaine Francis. They've had opportunities for a few more. Caden Herrick. His attempted cross blocked. He was able to win it back at the second attempt, but then it's cleared away. Caden Herrick, one of those dual nationals. He was born in England of Canadian descent. He's one of several players on this Grenada side who have played at the Queen's Park Rangers Academy growing up. This will be a corner for Grenada. Just finish the thought on Caden Herrick. He actually had a brief trial with Arsenal, also with Fulham. He's still just 21 years old. Corner taken short, fed back to the end line, and it will be another corner. Bahamas insistent that that came off of Reagan Charles Cook last, but the referee, the assistant referee, both seeing it differently. Swung in with the left then, right on top of goal. It's a good, strong header away by Jordan Cheatham. And the foul given for a little shove from Lamond Andrew Cross. This will be a free kick for Grenada. This little two-handed shove in the back, right there. Not a lot, but enough. Now, the goal that Grenada scored 11 minutes ago came from a cross that stranded Vance Wheaton. So you would think Grenada would want to put Wheaton under pressure again. Set-piece opportunities like this. Siobhan John Brown and Keishon Francois both around it. It is John Brown to lift it in, and a free header right on the penalty spot, lifted over the bar. Parrish Moorhead not able to get over the top of it. Chance gone for now for Grenada. Pretty good ball in. The arrival was good as well from Moorhead, but unable to guide the header the way he wanted. Band appears to have arrived here in Grenada. It's kind of been a feature of Grenadan home games here at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. The band doesn't start playing until about 25 minutes in or so. This is lifted forward. The Bahamas trying to get themselves forward really for the first time, but not a lot in it for Lamond Andrew Cross. Rare chance to handle the ball for Chad Phillip. It's an opportunity for Chad Phillip tonight to stake a claim to that #1 shirt as the goalkeeper for Grenada. Granted, a game where he doesn't figure to see a lot of action. Games like that can be especially tough mentally for a goalkeeper, but definitely a test for him tonight. Herrick. Roman Charles Cook. His brother Reagan exchanging down that right-hand side. Here's Roman again. His cross lifted in toward the back post. Now hit with the right, just wide. And it's another one from Darius Johnson, who's just missed that post a couple times in the opening half hour tonight. Initial defensive header was good just to get something on that. It falls to Johnson, who's shown a really clean right foot once again, but a foot or so off target for the second time. Continues to be all kinds of room for Roman Charles Cook down this right. Bahamas struggling to defend the flanks. Again, it's lifted in, this time overhit. Bahamas will try to work it out from their own ends with the throw. And neither of these sides has ever qualified for a FIFA World Cup. Grenada have qualified for the Concacaf Gold Cup on 3 occasions. Last time in 2021. Got out in the group stage each of those times, but it's a big deal for Grenada just to reach the Gold Cup. Of course, this year's edition of the Gold Cup begins in just a week and a half. Eagerly looking forward to that, but Grenada unfortunately will not be there this time around. Still a national side that's investing quite a bit in its infrastructure. Celebrated their 100th anniversary last summer. Investing a lot more money in their domestic league, trying to build that up as we eclipse the half-hour mark in this game. Giving themselves a chance to keep their qualifying hopes alive so far. That 15th-minute goal from Jermaine Francis. The story through the first third of this match. Darius Johnson facing up the defender, beating the defender, lifting it in. Volleyed away by Jordan Cheatham. Vincent Young. Mentioned the injuries that he's overcome. Ball forward, the Bahamas trying to create something for the first time on the attack. Can't do it as Parrish Moorhead was there to defend it away. Kane Vincent Young, another one of those dual nationals born in Camden in London. came through the Tottenham Hotspur Academy. And multiple Achilles tendon injuries. He's had groin and adductor tendon surgeries, hamstring problems, dislocated shoulder. He's consistently fought his way back, Kane Vincent-Young. Played for Ipswich Town, in fact, a few years ago. Here they are down this right side again with Reagan Charles Cook. Cook in with the left, didn't get much on it. Again, scooped away by Cheatham. Yeah, Kane Vincent-Young played for Ipswich late last decade, early this one. Was with them during the COVID pandemic stoppage. He was instrumental in Ipswich Town's Keep the Town Talking initiative. The team would regularly call isolated elderly fans, try to keep them engaged, lift their spirits. So this is by the end line, appeared to have gone out of play perhaps, apparently not, but claimed by the goalkeeper Vance Wheaton anyway. Yeah, that Keep the Town Talking initiative Ipswich Town put on during the COVID pandemic shutdown. Kane Vincent-Young, a huge part of that. Earned Ipswich's PFA Community Champion Award for that season because of that initiative. It's a really great story, by all accounts, a fine human being, Kane Vincent-Young, and looking to have a stretch of healthy, consistent play. Into the middle, this goes. It's a good ball in, asking a lot of questions of the defense, and then deflected out. Who did it come off last? It's going to be a corner for Grenada. 12 minutes to go until halftime. Right-footed in-swinger delivered, and this time stooped away by Junior Kelly. This will be a free kick for the Bahamas, who've defended decently in this first half, conceded the goal in the 15th minute. Held off Grenada since. Of course, the Bahamas' slim hopes of qualification would go away if they were to lose tonight. Even a draw would likely end their qualification hopes. This is a Bahamas side that's mainly looking to improve each cycle. And this will be a free kick for them. The most dangerous opportunity they'll have had in this first half. They've had a few kicks right on the halfway line. This will be their most advanced set piece so far. Not a good foul to give away if you're Grenada either. Just over-eager in the arm wrestling from Kane Vincent-Young. It's William Bales who puts this ball down with Jordan Cheatham next to him. Bales, one of those Bahaman players playing collegiate soccer in the United States. It's been an initiative for them over the last handful of years, getting more of their players involved in college soccer, getting more of them on scholarships in the United States. As we enter the final 10 minutes of this first half. Have to make the most of these kinds of set pieces, the Bahamas. It is Cheatham with a strike into the wall. Hit it pretty well, but the four-man wall able to deal with it. Then Cheatham again, and that's blocked once more. And now dispossessed, and here come Grenada on the counter, using that speed. They're 2 against 3. Cut to the outside, goalkeeper out, and it's off the post and in. They score their second. Lightning fast on the counterattack, and this time Darius Johnson puts it away. He just missed a couple times in this first half. Did not miss this time. Taking on his defender 1v1. He had a teammate breaking into the box with him. Did not need him. After he just missed that same post on those 2 prior volleys in the first half, this time kissing it off the inside. It's a beautiful first half so far for Grenada, who are 2 goals to the good in this must-win game.
Ladies and gentlemen, your goal scorer, player number 7, Darius Johnson, with the 10-6 minutes. Team Grenada 2, Bahamas 0.
Disappointing for the Bahamas, who had their best attacking sequence of the game, but sometimes that's how it goes. When you're having to defend for so long, you finally get yourself forward, then you get too committed forward, and you get caught on the counter. And with the speed that Grenada possess, anytime they're able to play on the counter in transition, always going to lead to good opportunities for them. And players like Darius Johnson, who love to take on people 1v1, their eyes light up in situations like that, and Johnson did not miss. Lifted in by the Bahamas, taken by goalkeeper Chad Phillip, who took his own defender out in the process, but fortunately, Caden Herrick appears to be just fine. So again, Grenada would love to pour this on and give their goal differential a much better look by the end of tonight, along with their points tally. Looking to be in good position for the 3 points so far. Goal differential now at -1 after scoring their second of the night. Bahamas finding it difficult to get out. Darius Johnson again. His cross deflected off the near post, almost an own goal, and then shouts for a penalty. And instead, the free kick given the other way. Vance Wheaton got himself in a tough position there. Understandable after the deflection off the post, but again, it's Darius Johnson just causing so many problems for the Bahamas on that left side. Putting it into that uncertain spot. It was Jordan Cheatham stretching and putting it off his near post, almost scoring an own goal, but he had to get something on that with the attacker right behind him. And Grenada were convinced they should have had a penalty subsequently, but instead this is a free kick for the Bahamas now in the middle of the park. So into the final 5 of the first half here in St. George's, the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Named for a man who inspired this entire Grenadian nation with his gold medal at the 2012 London Olympics in 400 meters. This is Roman Charles Cook lifting it back in toward the back post. Over the head of Darius Johnson this time. Kirani James subsequently adding a silver medal in 2016, a bronze medal in 2020. So the only athlete actually to have the full set of medals, gold, silver, and bronze in the 400 meters in that event's history in the Olympics. So he is, to put it mildly, a national hero here in Grenada. He's received all kinds of honors. Knighthood, honorary doctorate degrees, you name it. It's the National Stadium also now named in his honor. The kind of person that shows a nation what they could be capable of on the world stage. And that's the kind of thing that Grenada aspire to on the footballing side as well. The ambition for that to happen in this World Cup qualifying cycle. Needing a 3-point result here tonight, and so far so good for them. Thanks to goals from Darius Johnson and Jermaine Francis in this first half. They'll still need help elsewhere, and they'll need to win their last game as well against St. Kitts and Nevis in this second round of qualifying next Tuesday. If things break in their direction, they could go into that final day of qualifying in this second round. A lot of hope and a lot of things still in play. To make sure they finish this one first, of course. This is lifted back in and will result in yet another corner for Grenada.
Hey, make that one go. One time, one. Keep driving them across it. Yeah, just keep driving them across it.
Shavon John Brown will take one more corner in this first half at least. And love a third goal before the break, of course. In it goes, top of the 6-yard area. Here to skim off the top of Aaron Pierre's head. It did, and it's a goal kick. Vance Wheaton has found his goal under siege in this first half. Might have more to deal with here. Darius Johnson, already one goal tonight, onto his right, strikes on target again, and there's Wheaton. It's another good hit from Darius Johnson. And Johnson plays for Phoenix Rising FC, USL in the United States. Phoenix Rising, one of the most well-regarded clubs in that league, of course. Won the USL title a couple years ago. Not a team you just walk into, and Darius Johnson's shown his quality in this first half. Had one goal, could have had a couple more. Final minute of the 45. We'll find out about stoppage time in just a moment. Great ball to the right, and then into the middle it goes, and it's flicked just wide. Good cross in, and nearly a third for the Spice Boys. Reagan Charles Cook just an inch away from fully connecting with that one. But too much on that ball, chance for Wheaton to claim, and instead he lets it run out of play. Final seconds of the 45 elapsing. Still 1-0 to Bermuda over the Cayman Islands late in the first half there. St. Vincent and the Grenadines have added a second goal over Anguilla. As we will have 2 additional minutes in the first half here in St. George's. This will be an attacking throw for the Bahamas. Chance for them to launch something into the area. Immediately repelled by Aaron Pierre, the captain for Grenada. Look for the counter again here. This is where they can be so dangerous, but given away to Reagan Charles Cook. Takes a double deflection, and will be a throw for the Bahamas. A shake of the head from Kevin Davies, the Bahamas head coach, knowing that's another bad giveaway in the middle of the park. The Bahamas have been guilty of a few of those in this first half. Nearly another one there for Jordan Cheatham. A free kick of the first half, likely. Bales are trying to deliver something into a tricky area. Instead, we'll leave it for Cheatham, it appears. So Cheatham forward with the left and overhit. Goalkeeper makes it his, Chan Phillip. Watch the final seconds of this first half elapse. Referee Shaven Green ready to blow the final whistle of this opening half, which he now does. And so far, it's job done for Grenada in this must-win qualifier for them. They have had goals in the first half from Jermaine Francis in the 15th minute and Darius Johnson in the 36th. They'll look for more in the second half. They'll look to keep their qualifying hopes alive. But at the break, here in St. George's, it is Grenada 2, the Bahamas 0.
Is the best moment of Concacaf games and tournament. Follow us on TikTok at Concacaf. And for the latest official news, match scores, stats, and highlights, visit Concacaf.com. Ladies and gentlemen, halftime.
The highlights from our first half here in St. George's between Grenada and the Bahamas. Both sides needing a win tonight to keep their qualification hopes alive.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready for second of action, Grenada versus the Bahamas. Team Grenada 2, Bahamas 0.
Back for the second half here in St. George's in Grenada, as Grenada with a 2-goal lead over the Bahamas in this World Cup qualifier in the road to FIFA World Cup 2026. Grenada trying to keep their hopes alive as we're back underway for the second half. Shaven Green blowing his whistle. Off we go again with Grenada in the green, the Bahamas in the gold and the blue. Donnie Barnes, Grenada with goals in the 15th and 36th minutes in the opening half from Jermaine Francis and Darius Johnson. Had opportunities for more, figured to have more chances in this second half, so they try to not only take the 3 points that they absolutely required coming into tonight, also trying to better their goal differential just in case that might come into play. And we outlined the scenarios a few times in the first half. Grenada need a win here. They'll need some help elsewhere. They have a chance to advance to the final qualifying round, which will happen this fall in Concacaf. One more qualifying game in this round to come for Grenada next Tuesday. Entered trailing second place by 3 points. Trinidad and Tobago occupying that second spot in Group B. And only the top 2 finishers out of 5 teams, 5 nations in each of these groups move on to that final round. 30 sides qualifying for this second round of competition in CONCACAF, only 12 advancing to that final round. So for 18 nations, their World Cup dreams will end over this next week. Maybe trying to keep them from being one of those. They'll have an early free kick in this second half. No changes at the break for either side. They take the free kick quickly, and they surprise the Bahamas with it a bit. Jermaine Francis, one of the goal scorers in the first half. Roman Charles Cook lifting it into the middle, and a stumbling claim by Vance Wheaton. Talked about Vance Wheaton a bit in the first half, just 20 years old, earning his 6th cap with the Bahamas here tonight. A lot of these Bahamas players still in their late teens or early 20s, a very young side. Vance Wheaton growing up in the Bahamas. I mentioned his dad played professional hockey in the United States. American Hockey League, the East Coast Hockey League, those are 2 high-level professional leagues just below the NHL. This team will have more defending to do here early in the second half. On the right side of the box, it's clipped into the middle, causing issues for the center backs again. Now Darius Johnson takes it under his command. Johnson was excellent in the first half, not just with the goal that he scored, but his constant menacing runs down this left side for Grenada. Vance Wheaton in goal for the Bahamas. Finished 4th in the National Spelling Bee in the Bahamas as a kid. He's an international business major, still is at the University of Tampa, where he plays collegiate soccer in the United States. He completed 200 hours of community service through middle and high school. Looking for a free kick there, Grenada. They don't get it. Chance for the Bahamas to get out on the counter here, which is something they've not been able to do very often, but shouldered off it was Lothario Lilfranc Milfries. The Bahamas do have a little bit of speed in the midfield. If they can get somebody loose, they just weren't able to do that much in the first half. Come under pressure again here, but a bit of a heavy touch takes it out of play for Keyshawn Francois. Moment where they wanted a free kick. Should have been Brown unmoved by that. Grenada celebrating their 100th anniversary as a football federation last summer. Received a congratulation from Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, on that milestone. Had a lot of regional success in their early days. They won the old Windward Islands tournament multiple times in the 1960s, a competition that's unfortunately no longer around, but they won that honor multiple times in that decade. Here's Green again. This will be a free kick for Grenada, just by that corner flag, 5 minutes into the second half. Taking quickly as they keep it in play. Kane Vincent Young. Darius Johnson whips it into the middle. Good header clear from the 18-year-old Jordan Cheatham. Clever switch with the ball, and here's Vincent Young again, and his pass this time for Darius Johnson doesn't connect. Grenada twice finished runner-up in the old Caribbean Cup, another now defunct international competition. 1989, they lost that final to Trinidad and Tobago. 2008, they lost in the final to Jamaica. That old Caribbean Cup was a big deal in those days. Grenada nearly won it on a couple of occasions. The second time they finished runner-up, that still qualified them for their first ever appearance in the Concacaf Gold Cup in 2009. This will be a free kick for the Bahamas. Nicholas Lopez, who plays college soccer in the United States at Northeastern University, impeded there by Aaron Pierre, the Grenada captain, who immediately acknowledged it. I remember the only really attacking set piece that the Bahamas had in the first half. It resulted in a sequence that saw Grenada sweep back down the pitch on the counterattack and score their second goal in the 36th minute. So they have to make sure they don't get themselves caught up the pitch here. Grenada have shown the lethal speed that they have when they're able to play on transition, which, as much as they dominated the ball in the first half, those moments were few and far between, but they capitalized on that one. Here's William Bales taking this free kick, and he goes for goal, and it has to be pawed away. It's a good save in the end by Chad Phillip. First shot on target of the night for the Bahamas. And William Bales almost had a spectacular goal to pull one back for them. Goalkeeper not expecting it at all, and he nearly caught him, but Chad Phillip got back across his goal mouth really well. It's a good recovery. It'll be the first corner of the night for the Bahamas instead. And with the left foot it comes, and punched clear by Chad Phillip, who again earning his 5th cap tonight. 24 years old, has not been the starting goalkeeper. Talked about Jason Belfon, who's 34 years old. He's been the incumbent #1 goalkeeper for Grenada for quite a few years. So we talked in the first half about what an opportunity this is for Chad Phillip tonight, getting the nod, getting the trust from head coach Anthony Modeste. Take charge between the sticks for this one. And we talked in the first half about how he didn't figure to have too many saves to make tonight, but how that can sometimes be a real mental challenge for a goalkeeper when you don't see much action, but you have to be sharp on those 1 or 2 occasions when you do over 90 minutes. And so those were big moments there from Chad Phillip. The save from the free kick, and then the punch clear from the subsequent corner. Handling himself very well. Trying to keep that #1 shirt and establish himself as the goalkeeper of the both present and future for Grenada. This is fed through the lines. It's a really good ball. It's a chance for number 3, and it's touched away. It's still alive, though. The goalkeeper trying to scramble back. All kinds of bodies stacked up in the area, and eventually it's Jordan Cheatham to take charge for the Bahamas. They just can't work it clear. They've had a hard time escaping their own third tonight. Taken back by Jermaine Francis. Already 1 goal to his name this evening. To help possibly set up another. Darius Johnson now, their other goal scorer. Actually goes out of play for a Grenada throw. Francis again trying to burst toward the area. Lays it off to the top of the box. Touched on further. Laid off for Moorhead. Grenada camped out in the attacking third. Now to the end line. There's the burst. There's the cross. Deflected across the mouth of goal. And runs out for a corner. 10 minutes into the second half. Roman Charles Cook, who had all kinds of joy down that right side in the first half. The corner delivered in and then hammered clear. Mentioned Grenada playing in the Concacaf Gold Cup for the first time in 2009. They also qualified for the next one in 2011, and again in 2021, so 3 appearances in the Gold Cup. This ball forward didn't quite reach Jermaine Francis, and he was offside. Grenada have not had one primary rival in their history. They've had a few that they've developed a bit of a history with, though. Barbados, arguably the foremost among those. They played a very memorable game back in 1994, Grenada and Barbados. It was a qualifier for the 1994 Caribbean Cup, which, as we talked about earlier, was a big tournament in those days. Resulted in a very strange 2-2 draw that saw Barbados qualify for the Caribbean Cup over Grenada in controversial circumstances. It's one that both nations still talk about. It's one that Grenada still have some hard feelings over. So Grenada and Barbados, still a rivalry over 30 years later, largely because of that game. This is a right-footed effort that's curled wide by Reagan Charles Cook. Well, if you want the details on that crazy Caribbean Cup qualifier back in 1994 between Grenada and Barbados, I do encourage you to look it up. It's one of those that's so complex and so convoluted, we really don't have time or space to fully get into it now, but worth reading about. It's a great story. And it's one that'll make you go, oh, wow. I didn't know that could happen in a soccer game. You can see why the two island nations still talk about it over 30 years later if you read into the backstory of it. Anyhow, here's Darius Johnson. Step overs and bursting to the end line, lifts it back post. Good chance for the third, and it is indeed. Touched home on the goal line. And onto the score sheet goes Keyshawn Francois, who scored against Anguilla in the friendly a few days ago, on the score sheet in this qualifier tonight. And it is 3-0 indeed for the home side. And another one of those dual nationals striking for Grenada. Keyshawn Francois, born in Canada, came up through the Vancouver Whitecaps Academy. Now on the score sheet again for the Spice Boys. 58 minutes in, they are cruising against the Bahamas. Bahamas nearly pulled one back a few minutes ago with that free kick from William Bales. Grenada pulling further away now. Grenada's overall goal differential in this round of qualifying now stands at even at 0. They were -3 coming into tonight. So again, that goal differential might not come into play, but you never know. That's why they're eager to score as many goals as they can tonight. They certainly appear to be well in position to take all 3 points comfortably, which was the primary objective tonight, keep their qualification hopes going. If they could continue to improve that goal differential, it would keep building their dreams of going into that final qualifying match of this round on Tuesday with more than just an outside chance of getting through. This one hit over the top. Flag goes up for offside. Elsewhere in the region, it's Bermuda with a 2-0 lead over the Cayman Islands now. That's a real disappointment for the Cayman Islands, who came into this game with some real hopes of maybe causing an upset in Group A. They were tied with Cuba, albeit behind them on goal differential. That second spot in the group coming in. But trailing by 2 to Bermuda wouldn't totally end their qualification hopes, but it would be a huge blow. Still 2-0 to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, who in fact, it's the second time tonight that as I was giving that score, they have scored. So now it's 3-0 as of moments ago to St. Vincent and the Grenadines over Anguilla. Those are 2 sides that came into the night with 0 points from their first 2 matches. St. Vincent and the Grenadines look as though they're going to claim their first points of this qualifying round tonight. Earlier this evening was Dominica with a 3-0 win over the British Virgin Islands. Dominica, who had also lost their first 2 games, getting on the board at least in their group. Barbados and Aruba settled for a 1-1 draw. Both sides remain winless in this round. And Montserrat, a panel of 2 sides that had failed to win their opening 2 matches in the group. Montserrat, a 1-0 victory over Belize earlier today. A game being played in Cuba in Trinidad and Tobago. Another full slate of games on Friday and Saturday and next Tuesday. Close out this second round of Concacaf qualifying. See which 12 nations will go on to the final round this fall. On the road to FIFA World Cup 2026. United States, Canada, and Mexico next summer. This will be a free kick for the Bahamas right on the edge of the area. This is the closest they've come tonight from these couple of attacking set pieces that they've had. William Bales, who that fine effort that was well saved by Chad Phillip about 10 minutes ago. This one closer in. Phillip again is over toward that far post, just 2 in the wall this time. Tough to get it up and down from this close a range. Jordan Cheatham instead strikes it against that 2-man wall. Bales tracks it down to prevent the counter the other way. This comes all the way through for Phillip. Some big games coming up on Friday, though. These 3rd of 4 games in this qualifying round for all these teams involved. And one of the headliners on Friday that we're really looking forward to, Guatemala and the Dominican Republic. That game in Guatemala City is going to be a great crowd. The Estadio Cementos Progreso in Guatemala City. Guatemala have a chance to put 1, if not both feet into the final round of qualifying if they could win that game. But the Dominican Republic, one of those nations in CONCACAF that's been improving so rapidly over the last decade. big ambitions, being one of those 3 other national sides to qualify from Concacaf this cycle. The United States, Canada, and Mexico all automatically qualifying because they're the joint host nations next summer, but 3 other spots available, the most that Concacaf have ever had. As this is crossed into the middle, loose at the near post, scuffed away. Still alive on the edge of the area, taken back in by Reagan Charles Cook, trying to turn the corner and unleash something. Instead, it's taken by Shavon John Brown, who steps around a couple and tries to release somebody, but couldn't quite do so. But again, no way out for the Bahamas. And Shavon John Brown again. On the right it goes, and into the middle then, speared over the bar. Caden Herrick apparently had it deflected out. It will be a corner for Grenada. Taken short to Darius Johnson. Vincent Young, not necessarily in a hurry. Johnson curls in, headed away by Jordan Cheatham, who's had seemingly about a dozen clearances already in this game. Some other big games coming up on Friday, though. Suriname and Puerto Rico. Suriname with 2 wins from 2 thus far. They're another national side that's grown tremendously in recent years here in CONCACAF. Suriname made a run all the way to the quarterfinals of the Nations League this past fall. Gave Canada a really good battle, especially in the first leg of that 2-legged quarterfinal. Arguably outplayed Canada for a lot of that first leg in Paramaribo before Canada scored a late goal and then put them away in the second leg in Toronto. But Suriname, their growth was very evident. This ball played long, but will be simple for it. Chad Phillip. Suriname, one of those nations that just opened up their national side to dual nationals about 5 years ago, and that's revolutionized their national team, of course, because Suriname has such a proud and distinguished diaspora within the football world. So many Dutch legends are either directly born in Suriname or were of the Surinamese diaspora. So Suriname will look to put their name into the hat for the final round of qualifying, as this is touched to the back post and shouts for a free kick. Watching his leg is Darius Johnson. Free not giving anything, and Johnson staying down for now. Johnson staying seated and forcing the referee, Shaven Green, to come over, where Johnson wants to have a word with him and is going to talk himself into the book. So the first card of the night issued to Darius Johnson, who now has a goal and a booking. Grenada are going to make the first change of the evening in a moment. They're going to bring on Zaid Douglas and Joshua Isaac. Jean-Francois, one of the players who will be coming off for them. I believe Reagan Charles Cook will be the other. Darius Johnson, player that Anthony Modeste now might think about taking off, having just picked up that yellow card a moment ago. This is a free kick for Grenada as we approach the final quarter of this match. Here's the confirmation of those changes. It's Keyshawn Francois who makes way for Zaid Douglas, who's just 18 years old. Francois having scored for a second straight match for Grenada. E.J. George also coming on for them in place of the captain, Aaron Pierre. Here's Reagan Charles, the other who makes away. So Pierre, Francois, and Reagan Charles Cook all off. Isaac, George, and Douglas all on for the Spice Boys with 22 minutes to go. There goes Johnson again, lifting it toward the backside. Nobody arriving on that back stick this time for Grenada. They're going down in the center circle for the Bahamas. That's Lothario Lilfranc Milfries, and possible head contact. The game now stopped to attend to him. Looks like the Bahamas are going to make potentially their first change of the night as well, perhaps. Although so the Bahamas have made a couple changes. Andre Moray Roberts has come on for them in place of Lamond Andrew Cross. They've also brought on Ruben Edgecombe. Another corner for Grenada as we come up on the final 20 minutes of this one. 2 goals in the first half for the Spice Boys, scored by Jermaine Francis and Darius Johnson. Another one added in the second half through Keyshawn Francois. Corner swung in by Johnson. Headed away from the 6-yard area. Shimon John Brown showing his quick feet again. Switched out to that far side, in doing so to Caden Herrick. His first touch was good. Mentioned that triple change for Grenada a couple minutes ago with Joshua Isaac, one of the players coming on. This is lifted into the box. Flag has gone up. It was spilled by the goalkeeper, but it doesn't matter. The flag has stopped play as we tick past 70 minutes played in this one. Now, Joshua Isaac, still just 24 years old for Grenada. He's been thought of as one of their rising stars for a while. He scored a hat trick for them 3 years ago in a friendly against St. Vincent and the Grenadines, back when he was just 21. He's a guy that turned some heads playing in Grenada's youth league, and had a chance to go and train in England at QPR, Queen's Park Rangers. So he gets on for the final 20 minutes plus tonight. This is hit with the right by Moorhead. Heavy contact there in the middle of the park. It's going to result in a free kick for Grenada. Even with this 3-0 lead, Grenada wanting to continue to push the tempo, and they'd love to score more goals tonight. Better that goal differential as much as they can. It's good interplay down this left side. It's the substitute, Zay Douglas, who crosses into the middle and picks up an assist as Grenada pick up their 4th. It's the other substitute, Joshua Isaac. We just talked about him a moment ago. A hat trick a few years ago. Finally back on the score sheet for them tonight. And their longtime bright young star has his name up in lights this evening, and Grenada have a 4-0 advantage over the Bahamas. And it is a great moment for the 18-year-old Zay Douglas as well, immediately picking up an assist with a great cross. Joshua Isaac burying it past goalkeeper Vance Wheaton. Grenada supporters having a great time in St. George's tonight. Grenada keeping their World Cup qualifying dreams alive for now. Increasingly doing so in style. Who haven't had many attacks forward from open play. Ruben Edgecombe lifted toward the middle, but in the way was Roman Charles Cook. Then lost on the edge of the area, but tackled away from Lothario Lilfranc Milfries. So Grenada now 2 in the first half, 2 in the second half. A little bit sloppy over this last minute or so. The giveaways in their own half. Grenada after this game will turn their attention to Tuesday's match against St. Kitts and Nevis, which they hope will be a winner-take-all game. Some things will have to happen for that to be the case. They will, I'm sure, be watching when St. Kitts and Nevis take on Trinidad and Tobago on Friday. It's one of those big games on Friday that we're really looking forward to. Good battle by the edge of the area as Junior Kelly was able to win that for a moment, but then it's turned over for a right-footed effort that's over the bar from Darius Johnson. And a goal kick for the Bahamas. And Friday, Trinidad and Tobago at home to St. Kitts and Nevis, Hazley Crawford Stadium in Port of Spain. As we talked about earlier, Grenada will be hoping ideally for a draw between those two sides. If they can split the points and only pick up 1 each, that would leave Trinidad and Tobago on 5, St. Kitts and Nevis, who will then, of course, as we mentioned, play Grenada in the final qualifying game of this group. That would leave St. Kitts and Nevis on 4 along with Grenada. And Grenada would actually be above St. Kitts because they now would have a better goal differential. So in that scenario, it would be Grenada in 3rd going into that final round of qualifying, and St. Kitts in 4th. Only the top 2 advance. This is going to be a goal kick as it came off of Darius Johnson last, as we're into the final 15 of this one. So again, if Trinidad and Tobago and St. Kitts and Nevis were to draw on Friday, which would be the ideal scenario from Grenada's standpoint, then Grenada would go into that last game on Tuesday, which is at St. Kitts and Nevis. They would be the visiting side, but they potentially, with a win in that game, could leapfrog Trinidad and Tobago if Trinidad and Tobago, under that scenario, were to fail to beat Costa Rica, which is certainly quite possible since Costa Rica are regarded as the best team in the group by some distance, and Trinidad have to go to Costa Rica in that last qualifying game of the round on Tuesday. So there's every chance that they might not take 3 points from that. Now, you could argue that Costa Rica, if they could win their game on Friday, they would have their progression to the next round already wrapped up very comfortably going into that last game. So maybe they wouldn't quite play everyone or be at full capacity in that game. Maybe there's a chance that Trinidad and Tobago could steal one on the road. Certainly possible, but there would be every chance that Grenada could go into that last game knowing that a win against St. Kitts and Nevis would give them a great opportunity to make that final qualifying round. So lots of things that still have to happen for that to be the case, but they're certainly doing their part here tonight, leading by 4 goals to 0, and now it's 5. Touched home this time by Caden Herrick. And the party keeps on getting better for the Spice Boys. More good build-up down the wings. And crossed in by Zay Douglas, who picks up yet another assist. He has 2 now since coming off the bench less than 10 minutes ago. And Caden Herrick gets himself on the score sheet now. 5 goals from 5 different goal scorers for the Spice Boys tonight. Substitution right after that goal. In fact, a double change as Darius Johnson, one of the stars of the night for them, comes off, replaced by VJ Valsin. We're also going to bring on Ethan Tellisford. Looks like Parrish Moorhead coming off for him. So that would be all 5 changes tonight for Grenada, along with a 5-star performance. Still the chance that they could add more before the end of the night. What a cameo off the bench for Zay Douglas. He's picked up 2 assists, and he's picked them up from either side, most impressively. Remember, his first assist for Grenada's 4th goal came from the left flank. His assist a moment ago for Caden Herrick, coming from a pullback from the right side.
Player number 19, VJ Bowser, and out player number 7, Darius Johnson. Also in player number 6.
Don't think there's a name for that in soccer when you pick up assists from either wing in the same game, but he's managed to do that. Siobhan John Brown forward to the
Bahamas.
Josh Isaac, who's already scored tonight, looking for a free kick. Shaven Green's really tried to let play run tonight as much as possible. He's blown the whistle very few times. Taken by Jonathan Miller for the Bahamas, who have a player down. That's Nicholas Lopez. Lopez appears to be in some trouble with 10 minutes to play in this game. Hopefully just an issue with a cramp for Lopez. It's, as we mentioned at the start of the broadcast, been a really hot, humid day here in Grenada. Temperature reached the low 90s earlier today. Humidity's been in the high 70s, low 80s, so it's cooled off quite a bit tonight. It's still a very warm, muggy environment, which starts to take its toll as you get deep in a game like this. That 3rd and final round of FIFA World Cup qualification here in Concacaf take place during the months of September, October, and November of this year. 12 teams will advance there over these next handful of days here in June. For those 12 finalists in that 3rd and final qualifying round, just 3 will earn a ticket to the FIFA World Cup next summer. It's going to be a dramatic fall in that final round of qualifying, but lots of drama to come before then to determine who those 12 teams will be. There goes Siobhan John Brown, and then trying to burst forward for a 2nd goal was Joshua Isaac. Sweeten grabbing that arm. Good through ball, slipped forward, but Joshua Isaac quite able to get there, and then fouling the goalkeeper on his way past. It's that final round of qualifying. 12 teams will go there in September, October, and November. They'll be split into 3 groups of 4. 3 group winners will directly advance to the FIFA World Cup next summer. There is the possibility for a couple others. CONCACAF, we keep talking about how they have 6 spots in the World Cup next summer. There is the potential that they could have up to 8, because 2 more teams out of that 12-team final round of qualifying this fall will qualify for the Interconfederation playoffs. So the 2 best second-place teams in those 3 groups will advance to those Interconfederation playoffs. Those will take place next March 2026. More on that in a moment as Grenada seek a 6th as that comes off a defender and runs through to Van Sweeten. 7 minutes to go in this one. So those Interconfederation playoffs next March, as Bahamas have a player down and he's going to require some treatment, and they're going to make a change too. So Lance Alexander Carroll is going to make way for them. He'll be replaced by Omar Charles Chamali. They're going to make a few changes, in fact. Baja boys. So there goes Lance Alexander Carroll off the pitch. They're also going to bring on Justin Edwin Philip Minns.
Okay.
Also introduced 17-year-old Jack Massey. He's one of a pair of brothers who often feature for this Bahamas side. Now, his brother Michael is not present with the squad for this game. Brother is 20, but Jack just 17. And one of this triple change the Bahamas are making here. Sadrell Lewis also coming on for Grenada. Andre Maury Roberts, who had come on a little while ago for the Bahamas, apparently can't continue, so you feel for him as he has to come off after just a little while. So that should be all the substitutes used for both sides tonight as we head for the final 5 minutes. We're talking about those Confederation playoffs next March. Asian Football Confederation will have one team in those playoffs. So will the African Federation, as this is a chance for number 6. It's a good save, and then a second save by Vance Wheaton. A great double stop by him back-to-back to deny Grenada a half a dozen for now. Best sequence of the night from Wheaton. Now at the other end, some defending to do for Aaron Pierre. Rare touch for goalkeeper Chad Phillip. And now around the corner, here comes a cross into the middle, and it's still alive for Grenada. Trying to work an opening for a shot, doesn't quite emerge. There's the substitute Sadrell Lewis. Still alive on the edge of the area, and Lewis tries to slide along to Shavon John Brown, who was bursting into the area. Continues to be one-way traffic in favor of Grenada, as is the scoreline, with 2 in the first half and 3 in the second. Caden Herrick, one of those 5 goal scorers for them, advances it further down the right flank. And then the step overs, and the tackle was a very good one. Substitute Justin Edwin Philip Minns. Now a free kick for the Bahamas to relieve pressure for now. This was the ball forward from Caden Herrick that broke into the path briefly of Shavon John Brown. He's done a lot of good things for them tonight. Would have loved to have added his name to the list of goal scorers. The follow-up effort came from Joshua Isaac, who's trying to score his second since coming off the bench. Good double save from Vance Wheaton. See the 5 different goal scorers tonight for Grenada. 3 in the second half after the tallies in the opening half from Darius Johnson and Jermaine Francis as the flag is up here against the Bahamas. Just to finish the thought on those FIFA World Cup qualification inter-confederation playoffs next March. Those will determine the final places in the World Cup. It will involve a total of 6 teams from 5 confederations. Again, 2 will come from Concacaf. Those best second-place finishers from the final round of qualifying this fall in Concacaf. Now this is hit from the edge of the area. Wheaton, another save. He's able to pounce on the rebounds. He keeps it out for now. It's given away on the edge of the box to BJ Valson, who just came off the bench a few minutes ago. So those 6 teams from the 5 confederations will determine the final 2 spots in the FIFA World Cup next summer. Basically a couple semifinals, essentially. You'll have 2 semifinals on either side of the bracket and then a final on either side of the bracket to determine those last 2 spots as this goes out for a Grenada corner in the final 2 minutes of this game. So that's why there is still a chance that CONCACAF could end up with as many as 8 sides in the World Cup next summer. It's another reason why there's been so much optimism throughout the region for this qualifying cycle. More opportunity than ever before. Shavon John Brown leaving it square for Ethan Tellisford. Outside of the foot, cross into the middle was ambitious from Vijay Valson. So that's why the dream is still very much there for nations like Grenada. Headed for 3 points tonight, hoping for good results elsewhere on Friday. Give themselves a chance in the final game of this round next Tuesday. This is dangerous from the Bahamas. Given away eventually to Shavon John Brown. He's been everywhere for Grenada tonight. He's done everything but score for them. Sadrell Lewis, now Isaac. Ethan Tellisford. Vijay Valson. Final minute of the 90. Caden Herrick has 1 goal already. Chance to cross in this time with the left. And there's number 6 indeed. And this time Sadrell Lewis adds his name to the list of goal scorers. Half a dozen for Grenada. What a night for them. Roman Charles Cook has been excellent for them down the flanks. And he picks up another assist. It's a great header too. Falling backwards, keeping that on target, Sadrell Lewis. Burying it into that side netting. 4th of the second half. Grenada continue to better that goal differential too. They're now at +3 for this round of qualifying. Again, you never know whether that could come into play in those final games on Tuesday. We're into 4 added minutes, and they still want more. They want to make it 7. Trickery by the end line. It just runs out of play. Was touched in by Joshua Isaac, but ball had gone out of play. So Grenada have really turned on the style in the second half as Bahamas have run out of steam. Bahamas nearly pulled one back to make it 2-1 early in the second half, remember. A very good save from Chad Phillip from a free kick by William Bales. Since then, though, all Grenada, as it was for most of the first half, to be fair. This will be a goal kick. Vance Wheaton's made a number of saves tonight, but only so much he could do to prevent the onslaught that Grenada have thrown at him. Now the Bahamas trying to pull one back late. A chance for them to burst into the area. 2 in the vicinity, though, able to tackle it away from Justin Edwin Philip Mins. So few chances to create from open play tonight. A couple half opportunities they've had. The 1 shot on target they've had coming from set pieces. It's been a comprehensive performance from Grenada and a cool touch as well for Chad Phillip there. So he had to come to the edge of his area to handle that back pass. Ball forward leads to a 2v1, and it's struck by Isaac just wide. Good hit by Joshua Isaac, looking for his 2nd of the night. You can see why he's been so highly regarded for a long time on the island. Taken to the final minute of stoppage time. Race here, and Mins trying to break into the area, but called for the foul. It might be the final action of the night. fouling Roman Charles Cook. It's really good effort for Roman Charles Cook in the 94th minute of a 6-0 game. He's been so good in the attack all night long. Hasn't had a lot of defending to do, but did it really well there. Maybe one more chance now for Grenada, and it's Isaac breaking in, and he's denied once, pulls it back across the face. Now Shavon John Brown stabs it into the middle, crowded out. Goalkeeper should claim, and does. Flag goes up as well for a foul. That will probably end things for tonight. Vance Wheaton, one more bold claim in traffic. He's taken a bit of contact tonight. Takes a bit more there. Final whistle will likely follow as soon as it's put back into play. Player struggling with a cramp, it appears, for the Bahamas. It's William Gardner, who's played the whole 90 minutes for them. Vance Wheaton's teammate at the University of Tampa, as there is the full-time whistle from Shaving Green. And the Spice Boys stay in the hunt as they keep their World Cup qualification dreams alive tonight with a comprehensive win over the Bahamas. They'll hope that results elsewhere go their way on Friday, specifically in that game between St. Kitts and Nevis and Trinidad and Tobago. If that game does go in their favor, they would have every chance against St. Kitts and Nevis in their final game of this round on Tuesday. But they did what they had to do tonight. That was job one. Job two was to really better their goal differential, and they accomplished that as well. 6 goals from 6 different scorers this evening. 2 in the first half, 4 in the second. And Grenada turning on the style in front of their home fans in St. George's tonight. It finishes in this Concacaf FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifier. Grenada 6, the Bahamas 0. So a great performance from Grenada here tonight. We appreciate everyone who's joined us here this evening. Grenada keeping their qualification hopes alive. And we'll see what they can do on Tuesday against St. Kitts and Nevis. Could they still surge into the final round of qualifying this fall? Those 6 different goal scorers have certainly kept that scenario very much in play. For our entire great production team, I'm Donnie Barnes. Good night from St. George's and the Kirani James Athletics Stadium, where again it finishes tonight. Grenada 6, the Bahamas 0.